Good morning, students. In this class, we will discuss runoff along with flow mass curve and flow duration curve. But in this presentation, we will discuss flow mass curve and flow mass curve and flow duration curve and introduction and surface duration curve and conclusion. But before we go into that, just introduction. The hydrologic data generally consists of a sequence of observations of some phase of the hydrologic cycle made at a particular site. The data may be a record of the discharge of a stream at a particular place, or it may be a record of the amount of rainfall caught in a particular rain gauge. Although for most hydrologic purposes, a long record is preferred to a short one, the user should recognize that the longer the record, the greater the chance that there has been a change in the physical conditions of the basin or in the methods of data collection. If these are appreciable, the composite record would represent only a non-exist condition and not one that existed either before or after the change. Such a record is inconstant. And also here, flow duration curve. And guys, here, when the runoff, but we are talking about the flow duration curve. When the runoff rate observed at the catchment outlet is continuously measured, it can be plotted as the ordinate against time on Abscissa to provide the runoff hydrograph. The variability is runoff is expressed in terms of the fluctuations of the runoff rate in the hydrographs. There are two other ways of evaluating the variability in the runoff. There are the flow duration curve and the flow mass curve, which are described in this section and the next section respectively. A graph representing the rate of runoff in the stream as the ordinate against the percentage of time such flow is equaled or exceeded as the Abscissa is called the flow duration curve. To determine the flow duration curve for a particular location, it is necessary to obtain daily flow data for a certain period of time, either 1 year or a number of years. The length of the records indicate the total number of days in the series. The daily flows are then arranged in descending order of magnitude from the highest to the lowest flow value, with each flow value being assigned a rank. The highest flow would get a rank of 1, the next highest flow a rank of 2, and so on. And the lowest flow would get a rank n, where n is the total number of days in the record. For each flow value, the percent of time is computed as m by n into 100, where m is the rank assigned to the flow. The flow duration curve is obtained by plotting percent of time as the Abscissa and the flow value as the ordinate. The flow duration curve can also be constructed using weekly 10 daily and more on monthly flow values. Flow duration curve determined from monthly flows is given in example, and here is shown. The flow duration curve is also known as the discharge frequency curve or the cumulative frequency curve. The amount of work involved in preparing a flow duration curve can be reduced by dividing the flow data into class intervals instead of handling each individual observation. Thus, for example, uh, if in a record length of 365 days, the daily flow is between 40 meter cubes per second and 50 meter cubes per second and 73 days. Then the mid value of a class interval, that is 45 meter cube per second, is plotted against percent of time given by 73 by 365 into 100 is equal to 20%. On the flow duration curve, a flow duration curve constructed based on daily flows will be steeper than the flow duration curve prepared from the monthly flow data for the same period of record. This is because the larger interval data will smoothen out the variation in the shorter interval data and uses of the flow duration curve. Here guys, flow, flow duration curve is a plot of discharge versus percentage of time for which the discharge is available. It is obtained from hydrograph data. The flow or discharge can be expressed as cubic meters per second per week or other unit of time if the head at which the flow is available is those the discharge can be calculated in terms of the kilowatts power using following equation. The flow duration curve becomes the load duration curve for hydroelectric. Excuse me guys. The flow duration curve becomes the load duration curve for hydroelectric plant, and thus it is possible to know the total power available at the site. The maximum and minimum conditions of flow can also be obtained by the flow duration curve, where minimum flow condition decides the maximum capacity of plant that can be improved by increasing the storage capacity. Here figure shows that the flow duration curve are of no use. The flow duration curve is a cumulative frequency curve that shows the percent of time specified discharges were equal or exceeded during a given period. It combines in one curve the flow characteristics of stream throughout the range of discharge without regard to the sequence of occurrence. If the period upon which the curve is based represents the long-term flow of a stream, the curve may be used to predict the distribution of future flows for water power, water supply, and pollution studies. Guys, this is called a flow duration curve. But uses of a flow duration curve. A flow duration curve allows the evaporation use of a flow duration curve. A flow duration curve allows the evaluation of low-level flows. For example, from the flow expected to be exceeded 75% of the time can be rapidly determined to be 20 meter cubes per second. And for 90% of time, it is 16 meter cube per second. So if the flow is regulated by providing storage to yield a minimum flow of 25 meters cube per second all the time. The flow duration curve gets modified here as the broken line curve. The flow duration curve is highly useful in the planning and designing of water resources projects. In particular, for hydropower studies, the flow duration curve serves to determine the potential for firm power generation. In the case of a run of the river plant with no storage facilities, the firm power is usually computed on the basis of flow available 90 to 97% of the time. The firm power is also known as the primary power. Secondary power is the power generated at the plant utilizing water other than that used for the generation of firm power. If a sediment rating curve is available for the given stream, the flow duration curve can be converted into cumulative sediment transport curve by multiplying each flow rate by its rate of sediment transport. The area under this curve represents the total amount of sediment transported. The flow duration curve also finds use in the design of drainage systems and in floods control studies. And a flow duration curve plotted on a long log paper provides a qualitative description of the runoff variability in the stream. If the curve is having steep slope throughout, it indicates a stream with a highly variable discharge. This is the typical of the conditions where the flow is mainly from surface runoff. A flat slope indicates small variability, which is a characteristic of the streams receiving both surface runoff and groundwater runoff. A flat portion at the lower end of the curve indicates substantial contribution from groundwater runoff, while the flat portion at the upper end of the curve is characteristic of streams with a large floodplain storage, such as lakes and swamps, are where the high flows are mainly derived from snowmelt. The shape of flow duration curve may change with the length of record. This aspect of the flow duration curve can be utilized for extrapolation of short records. Suppose there is a catchment A with a long record, which also covers the period of the short record of the catchment in the same region. Then it is assumed that relationship which existed during the concurrent period is also valid for the long period of catchment A, for which catchment B has no record. First, the flow duration curves are prepared for both the catchments for the concurrent period of record. Next, the flow duration curve of A is constructed for the long period. Now, the ordinates of flow duration curve of catchment B for the long period are obtained from the following equation: QB is equal to QA into QB by QA, where for any given percent of time, Q denotes the ordinate of flow duration curve based on the short record. Q denotes the ordinate of flow duration curve based on long record, and suffixes A and B stand for the catchments A and B respectively. Since both the catchments are in the same region, it implies that they are under similar hydrological condition, which is justification for the equation. So guys, this is the flow duration curve, discharge in CFS thousands, and percent of time indicated flow was equal or exceeded. Flow duration curve effects of observation periods. Here, flow rate Q is equal to cubic meters. Here guys, mean daily flows, mean monthly flows, and mean annual flows. Guys, here mass curve. Uh, guys, here for many water resources investigations, it is important to know the total volume of water that have to be dealt with over long periods of time. For such purpose, the most convenient means of the presenting the runoff data is the mass curve. When it is desired to use water at uniform or nearly uniform rate greater than the maximum discharge in the stream. It is necessary to provide storage where water is impounded during periods of high flow for use during periods of low flows. Mass curve serves as a very useful tool to determine the required storage capacity for any uniform rate of demand. A graph of the cumulative value of any hydrologic quantity, generally as the ordinate plotted against the time as abscissa, is known as a mass curve. When cumulative volume of runoff is taken as the hydrologic quantity, the mass curve may be called a flow mass curve or simply mass curve. It is the integration of the hydrograph and therefore represents the area under the hydrograph from one time to another. Mathematically, the mass curve is expressed is equal to V of t is equal to f of t naught q of t to et, where V of t cumulative volumes of a flow up to time t from the start of the record, and that is the ordinate of the mass curve at any time t, and q of t the discharge as a function of time, the ordinate of the hydrograph, and pi is a dummy variable. A typical mass curve is here. The mass curve concept is believed to have been first suggested by Rippel in the year 1883. Hence, the mass curve is also known by the name Ripple curve or Ripple diagram. The difference in the ordinates of any 2 points on the curve is the summation of the flow during the intervening period of time. Thus, if 2 points such as P and Q are jointed by a straight line, the slope of the line PQ, and guys, mass curve, it is a plot of cumulative volume of water that can be stored from a stream flow versus time in days, weeks or months. It shows a mass curve maximum intercept between line AB and mass curve is known as a reservoir capacity. The unit used for storage is either cubic meter or day second meter. A day second meter is the flow that the rate of 1 meter cube per second for 1 day and equal to 60 into 60 into 24, 86,400 meter cube. The capacity of plant is based on the storage capacity, which can be modified by storage for the same mass curve. The water stored in dams is called pondage, and water stored in upstream reservoir is called the storage. A small storage is used to meet the fluctuating demand for small period 1 day. When powerhouse is away from the main storage, a small pondage is provided near the powerhouse. Sometimes surge tank is used. The capacity of reservoir made for a period of deficiency to make available the flow of water at a required rate is studied by mass curve. Guys, here mass curve, cumulative flow versus time reaches, reservoir capacity and mass curve. Mass curve of water utilization and monthly inflow. Here cumulative runoff, and here guys, millions of meter cubes or hectares in meters. reservoir full on December, and mass curve water utilization, reservoir full by end of September, and mass curve of monthly inflow. Here in the x-axis we have to time the times in months, and y-axis cumulative inflow we have to take on y-axis. Here guys, from in this figure I will explain a typical mass curve is here. First by okay. Hence the mass curve is also known as the near ripple curve or ripple diagram. The difference in the ordinates of any 2 points of the curve is the summation of the flow duration, the intervening period of time, are joined by a straight line. The slope of the line PQ would give the average rate of flow during the period T5 to T7. The rate of flow at any time is indicated by the slope of the tangent drawn to the mass curve at the corresponding time. If the mass curve is a horizontal having zero slope for a particular period of time, it means that there is no discharge in the stream during that period. The rate of drop or the rate of demand is the rate at which water is required for any use. A straight line having the slope equal to this rate is called draft line or use line. Where the mass curve is steeper than the draft line, the flow in the stream is at a higher rate than the rate of the draft, and consequently some of the stream flow is available for storage, or it will spill if the reservoir is already full, where the mass curve has a flatter slope than the draft lane. Water will be drawn from the storage in order to maintain the required rate of draft. The storage required to meet any given draft rate may be found out from mass curve as follows. Referring to here, again, uh, let the line OJ represents the cumulative demand, the slope of which is equal to the rate of draft. Let us assume that the reservoir is full at the beginning. From O to A, the mass curve is steeper than OJ, indicating that the flow rate into the reservoir is more than the draft rate. Since the reservoir is already full, no water can be stored through, there is surplus water. Hence, the reservoir will be overflowing during the period from 0 to T1. The ordinate A to A dash indicates the total volume of the spill in this period. From A onwards, the mass curve is flatter than OJ. So, withdrawals from the reservoir starts from the time T1, as the amount of water indicated by AA dash is already wasted. It cannot be included further in the analysis for the purpose of cumulative inflow. So all the inflows into the reservoir and the withdrawals from it are to be reckoned from A. In other words, the origin will be shifted from O to A. So a line drawn parallel to OJ and tangential to masses curve at A, and that is AC, will now become the cumulative demand from A to B. The mass curve is flatter than OJ. The reservoir is continuously depleted from T1 to T2 and S1. The vertical intercept between the line AC and B would indicate the maximum withdrawal from it. Thus, S1 determines the storage requirement for dry period of T1 to T2 from B to D. The mass curve is again steeper than OJ, and the reservoir starts filling from T2, and it will be full at T3. S1 may be more easily measured as the vertical intercept between the two tangent lines. AC and BM, which are parallel to OJ and drawn to the mass curve at peak, are the ridge point. J and the through are the valley point. B, again the reservoir will be overflowing from T3 to T4 and DD. Indicate the amount of spill during this period at D. The situation is identical to what it was at A. Therefore, the vertical intercept S2 between the two tangents DF and EN gives the storage requirement for the dry period T4 to T8. If the flow data for a large time period is available, the tangent lines are drawn at other rich points and the storages are determined. The largest of these storage is then taken to be the actual storage requirement, that is S is equal maximum of S1 and S2. And guys here, and one more thing is mass curve can also be used to solve the reverse problem of determining the maximum demand rate that can be maintained by a given storage value. However, it is a trial and error procedure. Straight lines tangential to the first peak point of the mass curve are drawn with different trail slopes, such that all of them intersect the mass curve at a yet or below the next higher peak point. The slope of the line for which the vertical intercept between itself and the through point is equal to the given storage defines the possible maximum draft rate that can be maintained. Similarly, straight lines are drawn at other points across the subsequent valleys and the possible demand rates are obtained. The smallest of the various demand rates thus found gives the maximum demand rate that can be maintained by the given storage. And guys, here, like in the above procedure, the ordinate of mass curve is either ever increasing, and if the record length is large, it requires a graph sheet of large size. This problem can be eliminated by plotting the uh, residual mass curve, instead of the flow masses curve. In the residual mass curve, cumulative net inflow into the reservoir. That is the difference between the cumulative runoff and the cumulative demand is plotted against time as shown here. In such a curve, the indicated draft line OJ of the transformed into the horizontal line, and so are the tangent lines. And also here, a sequent peak algorithm also we have to use it here. It may be noted that the sequent peak algorithm is nothing but the numerical adaptation of the graphical procedure of the residual mass curve using two cycles of the given data series. And also guys, here software for duration curves calculations. A tool from the older generation that allows calculating and rendering and duration curves. For example, these curves are often used in the assessment of hydrological drought. Duration curves can be created from the entire imported time series or from defined parts such as the annual or monthly segments. The FDC 2.1 tool was created for the analysis of flow duration curves. Into the module can be imported daily or weekly type of time series. In addition to discharge time series can be for the calculation and analysis used variable time series of continuous measurements, which are used in hydrology and hydrogeology. The aim of that software is to increase our understanding of flow regimes, linkages to other physical process, the combined influence of ecological function, and the result of altering the process on the integrity of river systems. We are interested in methods to identify and quantify ecologically important components of flow regimes, assess their alteration through time with respect to a reference condition, and the relate hydrological alteration to changes in ecological condition. We are also interested in using this information to characterize and classify both natural and altered flow regimes. Thus, the analysis and related methods in SAS reflect a focus on environmental flow assessments. The present study introduced a variety of non-parametric quantile estimation procedures useful for estimating and interpreting FDCS and flow duration curves and mass curves. The traditional period of record FDC and the flow duration curves and mass curves can be interpreted as representing the magnitude and the frequency of daily stream flow during the period of record. Thank you, guys. I will explain next topic in next class. Thank you.